Hallyu, a Chinese term meaning Korean wave, refers to the global rise in popularity of South Korean culture. From BTS to mukbangs, Korean media has taken the world by storm. After the Asian financial crisis in 1997, the South Korean government invested a lot of its resources into its cultural power. This was known as the first Hallyu, or the first Korean wave. South Korea increased their cultural budget from 14 million in 1998 to 84 million in 2001. They also created governmental organizations such as the Korea Creative Content Agency and the Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism to support the spread of South Korean culture. The focus of this first wave was to push Korean TV shows and film into other Asian countries. The efforts were a success, with films like Chingu, Musa, and Phelan receiving top ratings in countries like Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Japan. Over the next 10 years, Korean dramas and films found an audience amongst their neighboring countries. India, Singapore, and China were driving forces behind this growth. South Korea finally penetrated the Western market with the release of Gangnam Style by Psy in 2012. A few years later, BTS entered the scene, winning their first Billboard Music Award in 2017 and starting the second Hallyu. This second Korean wave, this time in the West, came at the perfect time because Korean media distribution had recently been banned in China. Interestingly, China is planning to lift the ban on Korean media in 2026, and we'll have to see if Korean media performs as well as it once did in the Chinese market. The success of BTS was followed up quickly by Blackpink, who went viral in 2018 in the US for their song Do 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 Do. 2 years later, in 2020, the Korean rom-com TV show Crash Landing on You reached top 10 in Netflix's trending US shows. 1 year later, in 2021, Squid Games became the most watched Netflix show of all time, gaining 140 million household views in the first month of its release. Now, in 2025, K-pop bands like BTS, Twice, Blackpink, and Cat's Eye have become household names. K-pop Demon Hunters is the most watched Netflix film of all time, and K-beauty brands have reached $2 billion in sales in the United States alone. So what is it about South Korean culture that appeals so strongly to millions of people? Why has Huntrix gone viral while the latest Disney original film was a flop? Well, all of the credit can go to the devoted Hallyu fans. Hallyu fans are people who are dedicated to pop culture in South Korea, including music, drama, and film. The stereotypical Hallyu fan is, in short, a crazy fangirl. She's a young woman who is seen as overly dramatic, delusional, obsessive, and financially irresponsible. Her family teases her for being in love with Korean idols, and she's constantly being reminded that her favorite Korean actor is not reading her fan mail. While these stereotypes are meant to shame the female Hallyu fan, in reality there's a deep human truth behind each of them. It's true that the majority of Hallyu fans are female, and that's because K-dramas and K-pop bands are specifically created and tailored for a female audience. In Western culture, the majority of media is created for and through the male lens, which emphasizes things like plot, action, and male desires. K-dramas, however, focus on the internal struggles a character has in any given scenario. Writer and director Joey Soloway defines the female gaze as a clear focus on the inner thoughts, feelings, and emotions behind a character's actions and interactions. She says that the female gaze makes a woman's desires, wishes, and inner dialogue feel known. Soloway's definition directly aligns with what appeals to fans about K-dramas. Netizens write, "I like K-dramas because the characters are very self-reflective about what they may have done that caused something to go wrong. This honesty and sincerity of character is a real draw on viewers, making it possible for them to empathize with them." K-dramas focus as much on relationship building with characters as they do on plot and action, and sometimes more. I think this emphasis on the development of an emotional relationship before a physical one allows audiences to reflect back to a different time. And if the program is a rom-com, actually allows for romance to be depicted in a believable way. One of the biggest reasons I watch K-dramas is because it warms my heart. K-dramas are the perfect recipe to escape. Intimacy in K-dramas is more meaningful than American shows which over-sexualize it. I watch K-dramas because of the great chemistry and the slow burn intimacy. For female viewers, romantic K-dramas provide a visual depiction of their own desires and thought processes, which Western media does not provide. With 90% of screenwriters in Korea being women, it's no surprise that one K-drama after another holds the young Western woman's attention. K-pop bands have likewise captured the attention of the female Hallyu fan. While BTS is the most well-known K-pop group in the United States, there are dozens of others which have sold out stadium tours in the United States in the last 5 years. K-pop fans choose their bias or their favorite member of each band. They trade merch outside of the venues with other fans, and they bring artist-specific light sticks to each concert. They buy albums when they are released and wait in virtual lines for merch drops. For someone outside of the K-pop bubble, this behavior comes across as obsessive and financially irresponsible. Why would someone spend hundreds or thousands of dollars to support men who sing a language they don't even understand? In 2018, there was a 538% increase in Google searches for the term toxic masculinity. This makes sense. In a time when the Me Too movement was trending, President Trump had launched his political campaign, and dating apps were reaching peak popularity, there is an obvious trend of women becoming more critical of toxic traits in men. Terminology such as red flag or ick entered the zeitgeist, and single American women started to reject traditionally masculine men as harmful, aggressive, and undesirable. This is when male K-pop idols entered the chat. The aesthetic of K-pop idols directly contrasts with Western masculinity. They present a soft masculinity, which blends muscles with delicate features and polished outfits. Sociologists have found that K-pop male idols' soft masculinity and feminine aesthetics, which are mostly absent in Western boy bands, are often regarded by Western fans as refreshing, fashionable, and interesting. K-pop idols' pretty boy aesthetics filled a hole that toxic men had left in the hearts of Western-based females. This wasn't accidental. South Korean producers intentionally market K-pop idols to these women. Producers realized that the dominant, aggressive character portrayed in Western media and assumed to be attractive to women in reality has no sex appeal for them. It seems like Western film and music makers consider what male viewers are attracted to, direct, clear sexual cues, and assume the same is true for women. In reality, female attraction is quite different from male attraction. We can see this by looking at films who have a largely female audience or scenes which female viewers have latched onto, such as Mr. Darcy's hand clench in the 2005 Pride and Prejudice. While this scene is not sexual in the masculine sense, it reaches female desire in a new and genuine way. K-pop fans say heterosexual female thirst is a somewhat untapped market, if you can figure out what women like, and I think they did. I'm not into BTS, but I watched a live clip of them performing Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and the roar going through the audience was awesome. It gave me goosebumps. Another netizen writes, I realized I can be sexually attracted to men based on their looks, movement, personality. Normally, I can find a guy hot if he's hot, but I've never felt truly attracted to a celebrity until K-pop. To be a Hallyu fan, there's a certain level of suspended reality required, which is where the stereotype of delusion comes from. For Hallyu fans, K-pop, K-dramas, and K-beauty are not viewed as individual shows, singers, and products, but as a large interconnected world which they have the privilege of entering. One Hallyu fan explains, somehow everyone is connected to everyone through collaborations, interactions, common friends, music producers, stories, TV shows. It's like a huge puzzle that starts to make more and more sense, and I'm still constantly surprised and impressed. One research firm says, K-pop success is inseparable from its ability to turn fandom into an interactive, narrative-rich ecosystem. More than just music, releases are rolled out like cinematic universes, complete with lore, cliffhangers, storylines, and physical and digital merchandise that unfolds across all social media platforms. Fans don't just listen, they decode, remix, and contribute. They have transformed the traditional artist fan relationship into a two-way communication channel, allowing artists to engage directly with their fans. For Taylor Swift fans, this strategy should sound familiar. Global icon Taylor Swift is known for her fan Easter eggs and puzzles. She has one of the largest, most loyal fan bases in the world. It's no wonder that Taylor Swift's fan strategy is successful for the same reasons that Korean idols are successful. They both engage with fans in a reciprocal but niche format. Korean designated social media platforms such as Weverse or Bubble strengthen this idea that when you become a Hallyu fan, you unlock a Narnia of exclusive content, fan interactions, and community specific jargon. There is an endless amount of content. It's so much fun to get into new groups and idols, and suddenly familiar faces appear along the journey. With this in mind, it makes sense that Hallyu fans are labeled as Delulu. But maybe in this case, delusion is a good thing. It creates a place of community for K-media stans and a world in which they not only belong, but where their desires are seen and met.